networking event. Happy that you're all here. That's already one, but we will wait for a couple more minutes so everyone can join because they're receiving reminders right now. And by the way, we usually use these several minutes to introduce you the environment and to make some networking. So first of all, you can check out, here is a chat and right corner, right down corner. Here is a chat. You can send a message there or a question if you do have. And there is also a reactions. I really appreciate if you will, and all our speakers will appreciate if you can use reactions during the presentation, because basically you are so quiet and you are listening, and we as speakers, we would love to see some reactions from you, because you're basically, all of you are without camera, so we don't see you. But thank you for the reactions. It's very important for us. And I'm really happy to see some familiar faces. Thank you guys for joining us. And you know that this is a networking event, and let's start this networking right away. And I'm really encouraged to share your LinkedIn, and when you did absolutely great, you already sent your LinkedIn profile, and here is mine. I encourage you guys to add each other from this event to network, because in Finland, the more network you have, the more trusted you became, and the more connections you have, the more, even in a search of candidates, you will be on a topper position. Yeah, we will have a couple more minutes. Feel free to share your LinkedIn, and I will add everyone. We'll add everyone to my network today. Happy that so many people join, and happy to see so many familiar names. Hello, Rina. Hello, Yuri. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, we have 2 more minutes, so we can use it to connection. And I do really love this sound of LinkedIn when you connect someone, you know, this, that's like a sound of happiness, like a new connection made.
Yeah, until you know, we just get the notification that you have reached your, you know, like connecting limitation for this week. So
you couldn't connect anymore, right? But
I mean, for only like until Sunday, like from Monday on, I can connect now. But like, I remember sometimes when I was just connecting, then like I would get that notification that, hey, you've reached your LinkedIn connection request. So yeah, you haven't been there yet?
Me, no.
Okay, then that's great. That's great.
By the way, this is Roham, our guest today.
Yes.
Who is speaking without camera on, but he will be like a main speaker for today's event. Hi, by the way, it's already 04 minutes, and I'm thinking that maybe we can start. I will briefly introduce myself and the Nerds Bay. So for those who are just join our first event, if this event is first event for you, so you will know with whom you are talking. My name is Julia. I'm a founder of Nerds Bay, and we've been always, since 2019, helping people to be hired in Finland. And it's been a long journey. So from the beginning, we've been serving as a recruitment company, but then we switched to remote opportunities, then we switched for job fairs events. So many activities we've been handling, helping people to be hired and live in Finland. So, and for now, since 2023, we launched our Employer of Record services. This is a services which allows you to work remotely, so you can be hired by a company, by company which is located abroad, and work here in Finland and be considered as employee, not as an entrepreneur, what basically happened, you became a contractor. And Nerdsbay may hire you on behalf of the overseas company, so you will remain a contractor or an employee with everything regarding Finnish labor law, with sick leaves, with holidays, with paternity, maternity leave. Everything would be as for employee, and also unemployment funds are different for employed people than for entrepreneurs. So that's what about Nerdsbay, and I will probably share our event calendar, because we have so many events planned. Just a second. Wait a moment. Here it is. We have networking session today. We have layoff and career strategy next week. 15th of April, we will have a session with lawyers regarding permanent resident in Finland, what you need to know. And then we will have a session with psychologists about how to support yourself and how to find your flow in a job search. Very supportive session. We all do need that if you're like for a long term. Nowadays, every job search is quite long-term distance, long-term journey, and we need to prepare ourselves, because it will be a lot of rejections, but it's absolutely normal nowadays. So that's what I wanted to share about us, and I'm happy to introduce our guest today. Roham, could you please already turn on your camera? Roham is an international employment advisor and career coach at Helsinki Employment Services. And he is like a king of networking. When I first been talking to him, he said that he managed to land so many jobs in a different fields due the networking. So, and I'm immediately like ask him if he could share his knowledges and approaches and experience with our community. So, Roham, welcome, and the mic is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and thank you for participating. I hope that I could just share my own story, and it's not a waste of time by sharing my story to you guys, and you can actually leave with something. I had this opportunity to serve the international talents throughout these 4 years, or like, let's say, the last 4 to 5 years. But just a short introduction is that I came to Finland almost 6 years ago, 5 years and a half. As a student I came, and the first location I landed was like in Kuopio, because I was studying at Savonia University back then. And my first internship, of course, I got there in a project. Then after that internship, I got an internship in the government just 1 year after my arrival at ELY-keskus. And then right after that, I worked for TE-toimisto back then for 2 years in a row as a media producer. And now it's been a year and some months that I've worked for City of Helsinki in the employment offices. So I always joke that if I ever get my citizenship, I can just skip the military services, because I have served the government for like 3 years and a half and so forth. However, let me just share the screen of the presentation that I have prepared. Okay, can you see this? Yes, I'm sure that you do.
Yes.
But so as I have mentioned earlier, the whole networking that actually works in Finland has opened all those doors that I mentioned. I have worked for both private sector and the public sector. So, of course, before I joined City of Helsinki, I've worked for 2 private companies as well, and also those were open. The doors were open throughout network. But the whole thing about this networking is the title here that I have, put here for you guys. However, just one sentence that is the key in the very beginning is that what I have learned so far is that the networking in Finland is based on trust, consistency, and learning how the culture actually works. So if you learn that, I don't think that you will have much problem afterwards. However, let me just confirm, Julia, if possible. Do you see this? That like, I just want to make sure that the slide has changed or not.
Yeah, slide changed, and we see the next one.
Perfect. So, I hate cliches, but let me start with a cliche. So, I did not network my way into Finland by collecting contacts. I built credibility inside a culture where trust is slow, words are few, and people watch before they open the door. So by words are few, I specifically meant something that in my culture, I'm originally Persian from Iran, and in our culture, usually silence is not that much appreciated. You know, like silence is like awkward to me and usually to many of my peers who have the similar cultural background. But here, silence is appreciated. So people like to be more clear. But I'm a talkative person who just always try to not be misunderstood. So learning this, adjusting, and then building that trust was the main challenges. And then definitely by people watch before they open the door, it's always important to understand if someone is going to recommend you for any position, they are putting their credibility online. So if someone recommends me to a place and then I turn out to be a very bad employee, let's say, or not as the employer expected, the credibility of the person who recommended me will be damaged. So people actually watch before they open any door. So from stranger to trusted, I technically was able to build professional relationship across Finnish both public and let's say private sector. And I've worked as project planner, communication specialist, event coordinator, media producer, and now currently as an international talents employment advisor at City of Helsinki, as I mentioned. So all my previous roles were to help international talents in Finland. And I have learned that Finnish networking through real trial, serious rejection sometimes because of not culturally, like matched in the very beginning. I learned it through also trust building and a long-term collaboration. So when I want to share the whole journey, I'm not focusing that much on my biography for you guys. I'm focusing on the actual tips and what I've learned so far. However, when I came to Finland, I was a stranger to everyone and everyone was a stranger to me. So it is really hard to build that trust. At least I thought this way. But if you just learn the steps and understand, then it's not that hard. I don't know, like I am judging after I have done all those things. So if you would ask me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I would say, oh shoot, it's like impossible mission. I hear something. I don't know who has turned this mic on. Please don't play with my focus. So again, I'm checking. Did the slide change? Let me just check it myself. Yeah, it changed. Good. No need to. What I thought networking was, I thought, like, let me rather than just go with like access, visibility, right people, quick results, it doesn't make any sense. I'm sure all of us immigrants have heard from many people to network. So network more, be active, meet people, put yourself, out there. But what they are not telling us is what networking actually means in this, specifically in this culture. Why does it even matter? When networking makes sense, who is worth talking to, and then if we find that person, what to tell them, how to not sound needy, or should we even be needy? Should we send our CV to their DMs or not? Please don't. How to know whether it is working or not. So there is a gap, and we all at some stage are confused, sometimes maybe even shy or ashamed, or then all this makes us passive. But we keep hearing networking is essential, it is very important, but however, we are not taught really that how to do it. So the same advice again and again: network, network, and network, but almost nobody explained again. So these questions, that the four main questions: what is networking really? Why should I do it? When does it matter? With whom should I network? And how do I do it in a way that is natural, not fake or desperate? These are very important questions. And there were questions also for me at the beginning. So I wrote 4 keywords here because I thought networking was about access. Someone will open the door for me. Someone will give me the job. And then I will meet the right people, saying the right things. And then I will be visible enough. Then I will be noticed. And then there it is, the job offer. But the reality is not really in this fantastic, idealistic way. I assume that if I would be proactive and confident, opportunities would follow. I kept looking back, they were not following. So then I realized that the view was maybe shallow, if not say too shallow. However, the scariest part of my journey and my story was exactly the one story that I chose to come and tell in this webinar. I hope that you all can hear me well, and so far my voice is okay. If anything wrong, please, Julia, let me know.
Yes, sure.
Yes.
But everything is fine.
So one story that taught me the real rules. I was a first-year student, so it's like about 5 years ago. I was a first-year student. I was sitting with 2 of my Finnish classmates, and they were actually nagging about another Finnish classmate of ours. They said the sentence was exactly as this: "Oh, you see this guy, that his parents are very well networked, so he gets very good internships, but because we don't have the same, because our parents don't have the same network or same good network, let's say, we are not getting any kind of internship that way." And I was like, shoot, my parents are not even here. So really it really stayed with me, and I was like, I don't have any relatives here. I'm in Kuopio, the 9th biggest city, it's not even the 2nd, not in the capital, like a place with only 100,000 people. In a bracket, I love people in North Savo. The culture is also different, and I'm so lucky that I started there, trust me. But then back then I was terrified because no friends, no relatives. My parents definitely were not there, yet alone didn't have any network to open the doors for me. So then it was just that at that point, from their point of view, the game already looked unequal. Because if I was thinking, if Finns cannot get those kind of internships without their parents have a good network, what are my chances for real? So it was uncomfortable. It was a very uncomfortable realization, let's say. And I thought that, okay, I cannot just give up. I'm here. And back then, I was studying bachelor. I was 24, and my daughter was already 2 years old, almost, something like that. So I had to put the also food on the table for the family, of course. So the stress was also high. I said, like, I cannot give up. I have to find a way. If network is the one that opens the door for me, what can I do? So, you know, like after that moment of frustration has passed, and then I could have a moment to think it through, and like, you know, like no more panicking. I realized a lot that okay, my talent alone does not automatically create access, no matter how skilled I am. Between we, please, even I didn't know that. I wasn't that much confident about my talent and skills back then. So then I was like, okay, I don't know how can I sell myself? I don't even have anyone else to sell me to someone else by recommendation. So I thought that, okay, I need to network. So I had like two options: go to people and talk. Then I was like, okay, what to talk about? So I joined an internship, an unpaid internship in the university. And in order to bring the food on the table, at the same time, I was working as a cleaner after this school. And because I was a bachelor student, I had to be in the classes from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So, and like, of course, the family duties. So it was quite a tough time of my residence here in Finland, because 24 hours felt not enough for me of a day. But anyhow, I went through that internship in North Savo Talent Hub project in the university. Then I used the objectives of that project as the reason and the topic that I go to people and talk. I found the relevant people who had the similar values to the objective of that project, sat down with them, met with them, exchanged thoughts, and then came up with ideas, heard their opinion on the ideas. Then with everyone who I was meeting, I was taking a selfie, posted on LinkedIn, and a reflection would be posted right afterwards on LinkedIn. And then little by little, I learned that, okay, I shouldn't, again, the Finnish cultural tip here, I learned about the humbleness in Finnish culture. So if I would just talk about I wouldn't look that humble. So then, rather than I talked about the objectives of the project, which was serving the international students in North Savo. So I only talked for them, about them, and about the activities that I'm doing to facilitate their, let's say, transition from student life to the labor market. And I would share the insightful things I would learn during the meetings from people with international talents. And little by little, because I was not talking about myself and I had a greater good, then people was like actually engaging with my content on LinkedIn, and I was being seen. So those who I was meeting, because I would tag them, their connection would also see my post. So I was consistent with this method of my sharing and meeting and talking and helping. I was supposed to stay in that project for 2 to 3 months. I stayed voluntarily for like 10 months. And people were like, okay, this person is very active. He is consistent on one goal and value that he has. So that was the story that taught me about the culture, about networking. And then I had to find a reason. I learned back then that, okay, I have to have a value and then find those people who share the value. Then we have something common. And little by this post and visibility and sharing and reflecting and continuous being active, I could also build trust, impress some, inspire some, and then people already knew my name when I was reaching them out. But what it actually felt like. I realized actually, let's say emotionally and mentally, it still affected me, because at first, before I go through that, like the internship, we're going back to the time that I heard about networking and this story from the classmates. I realized that networking was not equally distributed. Some people inherited even access. I would have to build my own networks from zero. And I was not just missing opportunities, I was missing access itself. So it felt like everyone else had a map and I did not, to be honest. So this is exactly the 4 things that I could recall that what was I feeling back then. Everyone else had a map and I did not. I don't know if you resonate with it as well or not. I thought that, okay, the rules exist, but it's not explained. No one articulated in words that, okay, network, but how? And then I felt like I had to create this access before I could even compete. And the talent alone was not enough. So these 4 were also shared in the story that I shared with you. But again, I thought that because some people are more visualized learning person, like the personality that you only learn by visualizing, and that these 4 are the key points that what I felt. And then I gave a glimpse of how I started this networking. But that's not everything, actually, because the shift that changed everything is more important than the approach that I had. The shift actually happened when I stopped asking, who do I know? But I started asking how, I stopped waiting for access. Technically, how can I articulate in a better words? The whole shift has started that how can I get to know people, talk with them, and actually make them trust me. So I never, this is the changing point. The reason I choose this like train changing lane, because then there is 2 lanes. It's just that like, it doesn't matter the person is senior, is a recruiter, or just an employee in a company. It doesn't matter if I know the right people. It's about that technically, how can I meet just relevant people who I can learn from them? Doesn't matter if they are going to open doors for me. I just wanted people who I could learn something from. And then we had a shared value and professional value, let's say. Back then, it was helping international talents, international students to get a job. So I stopped actually waiting for access. I started creating relevance by using this contribution as my entry point. So I was contributing to the project I was working. And then by this LinkedIn sharing, I could actually grow my visibility. But then the more important thing that I think everyone who is doing networking should know is that why some people are easier to remember. This is very important, because a lot of people struggle with networking just because they think the problem is confidence. I don't have the self-confidence. I'm not an extrovert. I don't know what to tell them. I don't know what to tell them. So I strongly believe that the problem is not the confidence. It's about the clarity. And many people do not know definitely what to say, not because they have nothing to offer, but because they have never learned to define their value in a simple way. And I read this model in a book, and then I started to think through it and then try to make my own model. It is not something that I created out of nowhere or novelty. Definitely, I have borrowed the same, the model from different places back then. But then it worked for me. Maybe not for you, I don't know. I hope it is useful to you too by me sharing to you, but I will just share it. So from what I learned throughout this whole journey, real value starts to become visible the three things overlap: the attitude that you have, the knowledge, and the skill. So attitude is how you approach work and people, the image you have. Just short thing about this attitude. I just go so many years after like the spot where I am. So I am in that internship era. But like just a parenthesis to tell you more about attitude. I was very against nagging online that much. Even though there were problems, I would talk about problems, but objectively, with a solution. Why? Because, for example, I would see that people would say, I have sent 200 applications and I didn't get any single even reply or job interview. Then this is true and this is understandable. I had also been there. But then when someone else reads it, who hadn't sent 200 views, they just take it as a, okay, it is something. It is not a fact, it is an experience. But then if they send 20 job application and do not get any reply, they don't go for 200. That becomes a fact in an instant. So these indirect experiences and nagging online, and then these were like somehow the attitude. Even when I was working for international talents for example, 3 years, and then when I was unemployed, I was very careful that, okay, I'm sharing about my unemployment, but I don't want to discourage others who are also in the same spot as I am. So attitude. And the attitude can also mean another thing. I didn't expect the networking that I gain something out of the person I network with. I didn't expect them to give me a job. I didn't expect them to recommend me. And when I say I didn't expect, I didn't hope secretly. I genuinely did not expect them because nobody owned me. I knew that I have to start from zero. My parents are not here. I'm on my own and nobody owes me anything. So when I networked, I was interested to get to know them, to learn from them, to understand how they could, overcome their unemployment phase. And I was against the idea that I have to beg, like approach them like a beggar with a CV or something, rather than approach them with genuine interest in the same level. I'm a human being, the other person is a human being. Social status is not going to define our relationship dynamic. I want to connect. If you are okay to connect, let's get to know each other genuinely. And that actually worked better because, trust me, I truly did not really apply for majority of the jobs I had so far here. And I got it through networks. Sometimes directly with the person who I networked, they offered me the position in their place, in their organization or company. Sometimes I knew another person, then the other person would say to, would introduce me to another director. The director would introduce me to the communication department director, and then that other, the third person in this, dynamic gave me the job offer. So what I want to say is that I didn't expect them, but they did it because they trusted, because they knew that they could, because I showed proof to them. However, we just, because I would also with the time, I should also be careful. So I just try to be a little bit faster. I usually, as I said, I'm a talkative person. So attitude is also like how you approach work and people. As I said, knowledge is what you understand. It could be cultural knowledge. It could be educational background that brings you some knowledge. And a skill is what you can actually do. When those three begins to align, you stop sounding, too general, vague, or unrelated. You become easier to trust, easier to place, easier to define, and definitely people remember you. So if with those who know me and heard my name, you just say Roham with a weird last name, because my last name is weird, I know. If you just say Roham, they know I work and I talk for international talents in Finland nowadays in Helsinki. They know that I have always worked in this, like that. Even the titles were different, but always to serve the international talents. So not looking at it from a personal brand perspective, but they can define me, they can place me, and they know if there is an opportunity, oh, I know a guy, Roham is your guy. You know what I mean? I don't hear you, so even if you're saying yes, I'm not hearing, I hope that you know what I mean.
Thank you, Roham. There is a
yes.
question from Regina. Would you
Yes.
please share the name of this book and the model where you find this model?
Hold on a second. So can you see here?
Yes, it's a
The
little
book
bit
is
blurred and it's
okay.
like
So let me
small
just get the blur out of the camera. But like, okay, so can you hear? I think you can
yeah,
see.
the impact.
It's called the Impact Book.
Okay.
And the very same thing is like this
Okay.
is
Yeah,
the
the same reads.
exact same thing that it's called Impact. And of course, it is talking about something else literally. However, I could just connect it back then when I was reading, like I was just connecting it with my own situation, and I got this like idea out of reading this book. So that's the thing, and this is of course a very great book that I have always been reading since then, and truly helped me. Okay, so back to the.
Yeah, we will have a separate Q&A at the end of the presentation.
Yes, at the end of the presentation.
Yeah, because there are some more questions, but we will
definitely
Okay.
we will talk more, hopefully, if I could manage the time. So understanding your value, however, is only half of the equation. The other half is understanding what the environment responds to, what the culture suggests. And in Finland, networking tends to reward people who are not only capable, but legible, reliable, and easy to trust over time. I'm keep repeating this because it is a fact that Finland is a trust-based society. And if you understand this, then you are in the game. What networking in Finland actually runs on? Once I began to understand my own value more clearly, I also had to understand something else. What does networking in Finland actually respond to? In my experience, it does not mainly run on charm, speed, self-promotion. As I said again and again, it runs on trust signals. So without trust, visibility means very little in Finland. And people want to feel that you're serious, grounded, reliable. They can technically place you and define you and understand you. So relevance. So people engage more when they can clearly see where you fit and why you even matter. People need to understand this matter, not only know it, understand it, and there is a big difference. Maybe if you wonder what's the big difference, we will talk about it later. Third is consistency. People often watch patterns more than performances. One great conversation is nice, without a doubt, but repeated proof is what builds credibility. And at last, reciprocity. So networking becomes weak when it is only about what you want. I said it. My own belief was that when I network, I don't expect them to give me a job. Yet, all of them, not all of them, among those who I networked, always my network of connection opened the doors, and I couldn't have jobs if they wouldn't connect me. I'm so bad at job applications, trust me. That's why I have always relied on the network. Networking becomes weak when it is only about what you want, but it becomes strong when the interaction carries mutual respect, usefulness, or shared interest. In my situation back then, it was the shared professional value. We me and the person who I was meeting, which was definitely much more experienced and higher level than me, we both wanted to help the international students in North Savo back then. So once I understood that networking is this, like, let's say, the dynamics, these kind of things, I didn't really try to perform. I tried to earn my own authenticity. Then I would be just relevant to what I'm trying to serve. I would be consistent, and I would network for the sake of knowing people, learning from them. However, what many internationals get wrong, and I always get it's heartbreaking for me sometimes, to be honest. There are four wrong assumptions. Many internationals think networking only counts if the other person can hire them right now. I see many of them just connect with people even in their, those who are recruiters. No, in my own experience, everyone's experience is different. In my experience, I could never get a job out of connecting with a recruiter. Never. Or even there were very few occasions that the decision maker was my direct contact. So the thinking that networking only counts if the other person can hire them right now is wrong from my perspective. That was not how it worked for me, at least. Often, the most important people in your network are not the ones who give you the job, but the ones who help your name travel with trust. And that's more important. Networking should lead quickly to a job. They assume networking only matters if the other, other person is just, as I said earlier, is just handing them, and it's like, oh, you are the guy I was looking for, you're hired. Since I said it in the also last one, the powerful people, these two are somehow, I combined them. So we go to the third one. Talking to non-decision makers is a waste of time. No, it is not. I learned a lot. Like that two classmates I talked with, they were not decision makers at all. Yet the whole fundamental of my starting, networking journey was based on what they shared. And when I understood the culture system out of that simple nagging with two other things, and also like many other cultural insight from North Savo that it might be irrelevant to you, there was always a maybe. They had this saying, which is like maybe, like everything we would say, I had to read from faces, is it a no maybe or yes maybe? All these cultural things came out of talking with non-decision makers, which then shifted and changed the whole journey. Some of the most important people in my journey, as I said, were not hiring managers. They were people connected to project, ideas, institutions, communities. It's very important. They helped me learn. They helped me travel my name faster by becoming more visible, and building trust was no more a job that I was doing alone. And over time, the trust definitely traveled. The fourth wrong assumption: one good conversation should produce visible result. No, sorry. Conversation does not always lead to something visible right away. Trust often builds more quietly than that, to be honest. And this is one of those mistakes that people usually do not really look at it in that way. They try to perform. They try to sell themselves, talk about themselves. Okay, one tip I learned. People are very interested to talk about themselves. They are much more open when they see someone is interested in them. So I tried to be that person who I was interested to hear them, to hear their story, to hear the challenges and how they overcame the challenges. Long story short, it's all about being interested in the other person. The final message that I have, if there is, of course, networking in Finland is really about quick wins. It's about quiet proof. So my ending sentence, maybe the closing, if there is one thing I hope you take from my story, it is this. The sentence that I have written. Networking in Finland is rarely about quick wins. It's about quiet proof. Especially for international professionals, this can feel frustrating at first, definitely, because the signals are not always obvious. But a quiet response does not always mean a closed door. Often it means you need different strategy. You don't have to become fake. You don't have to become louder than you are. You don't have to be someone who you're not. You don't have to chase every room. What matters is whether people can gradually understand your value, trust your consistency, and remember what it felt like to work with you. That is what really changed my whole journey in Finland. And I believe that is what networking in Finland is. And at its best, it's not performance, but trust built over time. Thank you.
Thank you, Roham. That was very inspiring. And I don't know if you see that during the presentation, but that was so many positive reaction to your words during the presentation when people been agreed with you or like find something insightful. By the way, we do have a really nice question. How can my contacts know, just for example, if you're not working on some like, let's say, field where you make a lot of connection, but for example, developer or quality assurance engineer or data analytics.
Would you for a second, it just disconnected from me. Could you say the sentence from beginning again? Sorry.
Yeah, okay. I will ask a question as it is, but then I will add my thoughts.
Okay.
Again.
Okay.
So the question is, how my contacts know I am a good professional worth recommending if they never worked with me? So this is a very nice question. I've been thinking about, like, for example, I'm a data analytic or QA engineer. How do people might know about that during the conversations without any joint work experience? Oh, your mic is off, Roham. Your mic is off.
How many minutes do we have?
We have at least 13 minutes.
Okay. So, there was this very great person who I never worked with, never. And then one day I sent them a message. I didn't even ask them. I'm trying to, the reason I ask because I'm trying to take a screenshot and remove the name of the person so that you would be able to see it from here, because I'm not sure if the person would be happy to share it or not. So just take a screenshot from here and then I will share it with you guys so that you see. So I was looking for a job because my contract was about to end, and then the job seemed fit for me. I had interaction with the person throughout several meetings, and the meetings was not like, I just wanted to hear his opinion because I knew that the person has a good knowledge on this, and I could just learn about the insight that the person has, like, could offer me. And then I will just share this with you guys now, that what I messaged and what the persons had said. The whole point is that they, during the meetings, so that I could also answer the question well, during the meetings, we both had the same values to help in that, like the topic that we were talking about. And then also, I came up with my ideas, I heard his ideas, we had exchanged thoughts, 2 or 3 times we met. Then I also mentioned about my situation. And like, then I heard also about his experience back then when he was unemployed and so forth. I showed interest in his organization that he's working. The organization name is also like somehow shown, but like I will just, I cannot even ask you to not. It's okay because it's the job of it's all right if this is like, let me see. I will share the screen, and then it's all right if it's like the job advertisement is there. I didn't get the job, so it's not that big of a deal, let's say, for this. Okay, I just shared the whole screen. Oh, that's scary. Okay, so I just sent a message to the person, would I fit in your opinion for this job ad? And then, hey man, great question. If you apply, I will recommend to the hiring manager that they interview you. I can promise you will do it, but I will certainly recommend it. So the person had sat with me 3 times. We had never worked. Could you see it? Can I just stop sharing? Could you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Position. So I never even, I didn't even ask the person, would you recommend me? I just asked, am I fit in your opinion? The person said, I will recommend you, because they could trust me already. Why? Even though we had sat down and talked and so forth, I shared it on my LinkedIn. They knew the people that I had worked previously. They saw the comments, the recommendation on my profile. For example, if you go to my LinkedIn, I can also, one thing that I had forgotten, I can also share my LinkedIn here so everyone could also go to the LinkedIn. In the recommendation section, if you just see all the recommendation from previous managers, then you will see that that kind of recommendations would actually, you know, like make people also trust you, so that I'm trying my best to articulate in a way that the person, I could also answer the person. So this is my LinkedIn that I posted here. Of course, feel free to connect, but also I just pinned it. Sorry, Julia, I hope that I have the
Okay, okay.
Yeah. But like, yeah, talking with the person throughout the topics, hearing him out, being interested to learn from him and get his guidance, and then also, of course, sharing and making my profile visible on LinkedIn. Just in, you know, I work for the ITES, just like ITES project in the Helsinki Employment Services. Just yesterday, we had a workshop for our clients on how to share and how to post on LinkedIn and personal branding. So that's a big topic. It was a 2-hour long workshop, which was still not enough based on the feedbacks. So I'm not going to open that. But in a glimpse, I could just try my best to answer. If it's unclear, let me know. I will try my best to rephrase it in a shorter way, if I can.
But I think it was good. At least I understood absolutely.
It's all about the signals you send throughout the visibility you get from the people you work with, and also with the interaction you have with the network. I even though you said it's good, I again rephrase it. Sorry. Yeah.
We have a raised hand, but we do have another question which been earlier, so we will first.
Let's go with the question and then the raised hand.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, Roham. How to network if the people I'm interested in collaborating, people I share the same values with, lives in a different place in Finland, and I don't ever meet them in person.
Okay, so like something that I usually used to do, for you know, I lived in Kuopio, but during the years I was in Kuopio, the majority of my network were already in Helsinki. So the first thing is that actually we are living in 2026, which you can just book for a virtual coffee, as I call it, or maybe others are calling it. You just say, hey, I'm doing this and I'm really eager to learn from you and get your guidance about the idea that I have or about this matter, or just learn from your experiences. Since we don't live in the same location, would you be open to a virtual coffee? So like you just make your coffee at home, and hopefully the other person would make it at their home, hopefully, and then you will share the coffee. And if not, then you have something to joke with. I was very lucky in this situation. I could joke with my last name first and do the icebreaker. But like as an icebreaker, you can say, have you got the coffee? We cannot start the meeting without the coffee. So like you know, you just make a casual place without a stress and just go as an equal, you know, like doesn't matter your situation is job seeker or whatever. 2 human beings, you just want to connect. And I always think of, would my daughter at daycare think what's the status of the other friend at the daycare when they are just playing or talking or whatever? That's how I go with the networking, not something too stressful. And if the other person is not interested, it is somehow very, very how can I say it? This is not very humble, but I always try to just calm myself down by saying, "Oh, dear miss, I know how." As I said, not humble it is, but I have to, like do some coping mechanism also for myself whenever the rejection happens. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you. We'll jump to the next one. Can you please share that whoever you talk network, how do you manage to keep the contact? This is a very nice question. This is like, I think, a problem for many of us. Like you have a time to connect, you have time to learn a little bit about the person, but then how you find a time, how you like keep this contact warm with emails, LinkedIn, texts, messages, I don't know, calls.
So that is exactly why I always go with the approach of getting a guidance for the first meeting, because then I always have a follow-up reason to just say, hey, you just helped me with this, and then I applied this advice, and then here is an update. So I'm really thankful for this. I hope that I can also get more of your wisdom. I just having an update with the person about how their advice helps me. If not, it's Christmas. Just for the sake of Christmas, I'm sending them something as a follow-up, just that I'm here still, but not wanting anything from you, so the person does not run away. Or like then I get a challenge, and I say that, hey, I tried to apply this, but then these challenges are coming. How do you usually overcome this? There are many different follow-up situations, because once they give you a guidance, it is somehow like a mentor-mentee, and then like relationship, and you can always ask a follow-up question, and then you keep up this connection, slowly building, without signaling that I want something out of you, or like some benefit out of you, or whatever. Just like follow up naturally based on the previous discussion. Or the person says something during the meeting, and then you just, after some days or weeks, you just say, hey, thank you so much for sharing that. Actually, it really stayed with me for several weeks, and this is what I think about it actually now that I processed it. You have so many different reasons to go back to the person and follow it up, and then the connection is built because it's not heavy for either side.
Roham, I need to say that you say that it's very natural, but for many people it's not very natural. But we need to, to learn that. I do have friends who have these natural skills as you, but it's absolutely not like very natural for all of us.
Yep.
You need to keep it like your, a treasure of yours, and we need to learn from you.
I completely agree, Yulia, that it is not natural for many people, and it depends on the experiences and so forth. However, I strongly believe that soft skills is not inherited by DNA or something. It is something that people can learn, and the only way, it is a skill, and a skill is only learned by doing. So if the person has a stress usually comes from, what if I mess it up? No one dies. Mess it up, you learn. Next time you will learn better. So like you will do better. Like there is this famous saying that do it, fail again, fail better, and until that you make it happen. So the skill is only learned by making mistakes. Have you learned how to do the bicycle, or like how to ride a bicycle?
But
How?
may I ask, using my host position?
Yeah, sure.
But you say that we can fail, but this is a very big fear to fail from the very beginning. Like know that in Finland, this trust community, and if you fail once, like very badly fail, you might be like banned for many years after. So, for example, you lied to someone, or you. Yes, you did something very, like,
yeah, I didn't say do something wrong.
Happen, but at the end, it happened. What?
Yeah. So I didn't say do something unethical and fail, or do something wrong, like wrong to fail. As I emphasize more, be authentic. Accept the fact that I accepted the fact personally that many people hate me. I was creative, and in the public place that I've worked, not the current place, but the previous places, the creativity and those people who are institutional always have this conflict. And I accepted that not everyone gonna like me, not everyone gonna accept me. To fail, I mean that you approach and you don't get the response that you expect. So then you can learn by this failure that maybe my approach was wrong, or like just move on. If 3 people said no, I don't want to meet you, or no, I'm too busy, just accept it. Failure by this one is, it does, how can I say, losing is different with failing. You lose if you actually harm your credibility and you give signals that you're not trustworthy. So if you give a promise and then you don't, if I promised you that I will attend this networking webinar and then you couldn't find me at the time that I was supposed to be here, would you trust me again?
I will never call you again.
So that's not a failure of mine. That's something that I lost here. But then if you would come to me and say, Roham, would you come to our webinar for networking? And I would say no. So you failed to bring me here, but no one died. So that's the difference between, so that's why there is no stress on rejection, even though it might be, I do have some also like, I don't take rejection so easily because I always follow up. I was a seller also at some point, so I knew that no people can use their veto, but then I use a question that, okay, how can it be possible that, for example, the person says, I'm too busy, or like, I'm not interested, or like, then I would ask, what makes you interested, so that we could just talk. So with the second question, they would either like, don't answer anymore, or they would say, actually, if we would do it in this certain way, we could be able to meet. Then, like I always try to not to push, because pushing does not work in Finland, not to be annoying, but in a respectful, professional manner, just ask a follow-up question and then respect it if the other person is not interested. Attitude is in the part of that. So lying is not part of that attitude. So yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Talking too much.
Thank you for the answer. Let's go with the. Do you have a little bit more time? I know it's already.
I do. I do. I already reserved more because I knew I talked too much. So then I thought I could predict it that there wouldn't be fair.
Okay, so let's then accept that we will have more minutes to talk.
Okay.
And let's go with our hand. You, please ask your question.
Hello, Roham. Hello, Yulia. My name is Lou. And my questions to Roham is that I believe that part of the job seekers here can be during this career transition, that maybe they have some lack of proof to their professions that they want to switch to. So for this kind of background, for this kind of intention, if you can only suggest one practical thing that we can do even right after this workshop, what will it be? Just one thing. One practical thing.
Yeah, I know, like very tricky with only one, because I talk too much. No, that doesn't work for me. You cannot control it. So you're shifting a job, and then you lack experience. I am not in a position to tell people what to do or what not to do. I can only share what I did, and it worked for me. It might not work for everyone. So because everyone's journey is different. One thing that I did, because I was back then a student and I didn't know my skills. So then I thought that I need internship. Back, like there are some paid internship, some of them are not. I was responsible for a family. So I worked as a cleaner to be able to pay the bills. And then I was also working at that internship so that I could gain the experience, gain the recommendation from a Finnish employer, and then build network just because I was in the right place. That's what I did. So this is the one thing that I can say, and I'm trying my best to keep it short because you emphasize on 3 times.
No, okay, but I want to clarify myself. So I emphasize 1, just because I feel like in the past hour, the sharing is more about this right concept and healthy mindset for the networking. And I really want to know, like, what can I do? I understand that these needs time, but for myself, I think it's consistency itself is also a task.
Luke, may I remind you, definitely you're right, because I believe the networking is something that it's mainly in the first mindset, understanding the culture and so forth. But also, I told you one strategy that I used. I was when I was an intern back then, I tried to go and find people who are working in the similar that environment of the nature of what the objective of the project was. So for example, back then when I was in the project as an intern, I met with people from ELY-keskus, I met with people from TE-toimisto in the relevant departments. I met people in several NGOs back there, and then people in even companies, then some employers who were entrepreneurs who had immigrant background. So I met many different people, and I grew my network because I had a reason to talk to them, and the reason came from the objectives of the project, which was helping the international students. And then at the same time, the strategy was that with everyone I meet, I posted on LinkedIn with a selfie that I took with them. It was always annoying to all of them when I asked for a selfie. But like with that selfie, I used to write a reflection of what I learned, and then I tagged them. So then, like, then even it would go to their network. So more people got to know me, and at some point, people already knew my name thanks to my last name. So then when I would approach them, they could recognize and easily say yes to me to meet.
Okay, thank you.
So out of your words, it might be like a screenshot from this call, and you can tag Roham and other guys from the discussion and say that was a absolutely brilliant topic.
Definitely.
Roham, like your story is like really, really impressive. And
I mean, let me be honest. I mean, if I see that, definitely I will write a comment, and then that would be a good starter for visibility. And then if I see that it's not really that good of a post, I will just block you. So definitely.
Oh, yeah. Like let everyone smile, okay? Everyone who with the cameras, please smile. So we will have a nice screenshot for Lou. Okay.
Right. Perfect. Any other question? Wonders?
Yeah, there are. Rina asked about. I would love to hear your experience learning journey with the local language, Finnish, and how much speaking the local or not speaking the local language has impacted in your job search journey.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Like,
very good.
Very good.
So I still, my Finnish language is barely, almost B1 level. And I am working for the government in 3 different organizations without knowing the language 100%. Of course, for this current role, I had to know much more than before, because current role, I have to work in Finnish, read the laws in Finnish, give the statements for unemployment benefit and so forth. So everything is like on daily basis, I have to go with Finnish, but then I can handle Finnish in written and reading mostly, not as still speaking. Because unfortunately, I was not even having enough time to sleep for the first 2 or 3 years. Really, I was sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night for continuously. I mean, like, that's why I'm 29 and I have really gray hair here due to the pressure, and it wasn't easy. But the whole point is that this is my excuse for not being able to perfect my Finnish yet. And this is one of the biggest failure of mine so far, to be honest. But the good news is that I could have these many different jobs, uninterrupted technically, almost. Maybe only 4 months in between I was unemployed for the whole 6 years that I've been here. And the Finnish language never was a barrier for both private and public sector. It is not same with everyone. I was lucky to meet the right people at the right time and in the right place. I recommend you strongly to learn it, and do not go with the mistake that I made. And I'm still learning, and I'm still feeling guilty for not being fully fluent in the language, which I really love to be. but it is still worked so far. I don't know how long I can go lucky without fully knowing Finnish, but so far it has worked, and I'm trying my best to learn at this point even more and more. So yeah.
Thank you, Roham. And seems that it might be last question. Sarah asking, I see you here as well. Thanks for the great talk. Still, it's so confusing and demanding for me how to approach the people who I know relevant to my field and keep the contact effectively. For me, in engineering, people seems to be more direct and to the point compared to other fields. Absolutely.
Yeah, very true. I mean, like, definitely, this is very valid comment in terms of the fact that we have to consider that it worked for me because my field was different. In many different fields, it might be different. But the whole point, the beauty of it is that you have to figure it out, that what works and what doesn't. I could just give you the bigger picture, that what is the general culture and cultural, like flavor and so forth. However, to just shortly, because Lou said one, I just want to remember. So like, if I want to just give one tip, is that even if the person is not relevant, use the situation you have rather than the background you have. For example, if you are a job seeker, you can just ask for the, you just say that, hey, I have visited your profile on LinkedIn and you seem to have very good experiences. At the moment, I'm a job seeker, and of course, every one of us had been in this phase. I just want to understand how you navigated the job market, how you could find your job, how did you build your network. So I learn from you and your journey. It's always easier to sit with them, and then you just suggest the time, like 15 minutes, maybe a virtual coffee or in person, whichever you prefer. If the person said no, go to the next person. If the person said yes, just continue. If it's okay, Julia, it will take a little bit of time though, but I can even share a. Never mind. It will, because I have to go to the messages for like 4 years ago to just show an example. But yeah, just go with this, and then if it didn't work, then try different way with others. Try to ask questions and connect on LinkedIn, and the person might say, hey, maybe we could keep it here, and then like ask your question and I will share it here. Just say, sure, why not? Ask one single question, they answer, ask a follow-up question, and then thank them. Some days later, come back and say, hey, what you just actually said actually worked, and thank you so much. The person actually remembers you. And then after some time, you can still keep the connection with different reasons that you go to the person. And maybe at some point you would learn. You comment on the post that they post, or you just share a post that, hey, this person actually helped me with this advice, show appreciation for what they have shared with you on a post publicly, and tag them and thank them and say, like, actually this advice helped me to understand this matter that I was blind to before. And like, this is something that everyone like, this kind of credits to be given, maybe, as far as I know. But like, yeah.
Maybe I could add from my perspective, as I used to be an IT professional as well. And I think that you also could, I don't know what is your field, but in engineering, I believe if you can work on open source project, there is a lot of people who work on open source project, and you can have recommendation from them at your LinkedIn already. Then you can just ask that, and if you've been making some input for the open source project, people are basically happy to support you as well. So you will have at least recommendation, and then you can also start a conversation with them as well. So probably not starting from LinkedIn, but from other platforms. And we also have here like Meetup. I don't know if you know this platform for meetups in Helsinki. And they have like specific for DevOps or for security or something like more specific for engineers So maybe check out them. Yeah, so probably I will go through like networking on these professional communities. That was my few cents. Okay, seems that we've done all the questions. Yeah. Thank you, Roham, once again for making that happen. Really enjoyed this conversation, and for me, it always so super interested to know stories. And you're a huge like a king of networking, as I already mentioned.
I don't
Really.
call it that. I'm learning the Finnish humbleness. So no, I'm just learning on the process of learning. Yes, thank you so much for having me, and it was very nice to know you. Hope that we could get connected with you guys on LinkedIn, and definitely if you have any question, I'm always open if I had energy to respond, but I usually do. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.